Alright folks, welcome to the highly multi-level advanced guitar that we're about to go over in this remainder portion of the song originally Untitled by the Rice Brothers. This song was done by Tony Rice Unit, and I think the video is from 1985. These next two videos are going to cover the two solos that Tony does. Now once again, I am not a Tony Rice expert. I don't know his notes, his moves note for note and everything. I have studied under his videos and his instructions videos and watching videos on YouTube for many years, and I know that much of it. But to say that I am a completely note for note learned in Tony Rice, no, that's not the case. So we are going to go over these two parts of Tony's solo here, and the first one is going to start off with just a little arpeggio type thing. Okay, so I'm going to play a little bit of this, and you can kind of maybe hear what it sounds like. And this is starting at about 150 in the video that I'm going to leave below of this concert. First we have the mandolin solo, and he does a really huge run going down the scale. The mandolin does. James Gaudreau is his name, the mandolin player. Right here. Okay, just that much is enough for an entire lesson, all right? So he starts off. Okay, somewhere along those lines. Again, not note for note, but my best interpretation of that. Once again, we're going to start off here. The arpeggio starts with a bar here on the D, G, and B strings, and that's going to be kind of like thinking of a long A. But we are not going to the long A. We're going to kind of end up in a D. So it's going to be kind of like a suspended it's going to be kind of like a G suspended, but we're going to use the D shape here. We're going to think of that. And then we're going to walk up the scale. Once again, the notes. We're going to go that far. We're not going to hit this high note at all. So it's going to be, so that's 8, 7 on the E string. Then we have 10, 8, 7, 9, 7. And we're going to slide down, okay? But for right now, okay? So we're going to walk up the scale, pause, up, down, to that, and then we're going to kind of come back to the, all right? Okay, now I'm not sure if he does an extra note. I don't think he does an extra little scale part there, but I may do one, so. I know one thing he does is that he slides down, but we'll get to that in a second. Let's try this again. That's one way you could do it, or you could add that little extra scale shape. Now that transition is going from the 7th or the 9th to the 7th. Once again, there's this D shape here. All the time I'm doing this, I'm thinking of this D shape. Okay, and then when we land on this note, coming down to the 7th, hit the 5th, 7th on the A string, and then an open G. And then during that time, he's coming up here and doing another lick going to the C. Now on the last video, I mentioned Lance Anderson gave me the idea for doing this video series, and Mark DeCarme, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, he had a lesson on changing chords. And on the last lesson video, I talked about if you want to change chords or doing licks and soloing while you're changing chords, you can always maybe 1 or 2 beats ahead of the chord change play the licks from the chord you're going to. So if I was to go to C, if I'm in G, before I get there, I would play some of the C licks in order to lead me into the C chord, okay? So that's kind of what Tony is doing this whole time. When he gets up here, right now we're on a... Right there is all that this stuff encompasses. Once you get to the C, he's doing some other stuff. So... And that's what he's doing. He's leading up to the C. After you hit that open G, so you're going to go to the 2nd and the 5th fret of both the D and the G strings, first pinky. We'll walk that up from the 3rd, 4th, 5th. And then while I'm doing that, I'm borrowing this E string here. Then he comes down here, comes back. Okay, so there it is. That's tough to do. It's kind of, I had to think about it a little bit, but anyway, here's the lick again. Somewhere around there, you're going to hit that. That's the other part of the lick. Open G, so it's going to be G, hammer on, 2nd fret, D string, 2nd fret, open G, then quickly 1st fret pull off on the D string, then hit the C. Somewhere along those lines. I can't do it exactly once again. Anyway, once again, the whole thing up to this point. Let's go back and refer to that because there is a certain way he phrases that I'd like to get down. Okay, so he kind of rides that to give himself enough time to know what to do next. Okay, so it's going to be kind of like that. And then that's the next part, okay, the next section. After that, I hope that I've covered that enough. I know it's a little bit scattered, but hopefully you can find, you can use some of the notes that I've talked about, just the skeleton of the scale shapes to kind of figure this stuff out. So after we've got that, we're going to come up here to the first box of the pentatonic shape. Okay, so we're going to go right in there. And so we're going to start with the D string. We'll start with the D string, and we're going to kind of move up the scale while playing it backwards. And it's kind of weird. He's really popular for doing this. So the first note is going to be D string, 5-3, pull off, and then hit a 5. And then you're going to do the same. You're going to, work your way up, but go backwards, like I said. And that's going to be downstroke, down, down, then up. And we're barring this G string right here on the 3rd fret. So we're going to walk it backwards. So start with. that's the third step. It's the same thing as the first. And that's kind of a crisscross move with your hands. Practice that. Then we're going to come to the 4th fret. This is going to be the actual minor scale shape for the pentatonic minor. Actually, before we come to that, we're going to hit that bar again, the B string. So we have two of these shapes, and then 2 of these shapes. Okay? Okay, so it's kind of, like I said, it's difficult. It's an advanced technique. Okay, so once you get to this part, we're going to come there, pull off, down G string, up on the B, down the G string, pull off. Then we're going to do a famous Tony Rice run here after we hit that D string on a bar. Then after he does that, he goes to this big long extension. So after this, we got okay, so that's how much we got so far. Then we're going to get him kind of like that. We'll see what it sounds like exactly, though, then we'll try to replicate it. Okay, so it's one of those. And this is one of the, it's probably one of my bluegrass licks that I've put on my YouTube channel. It's a very popular Tony Rice lick. It's kind of like Wyatt's version, but in Wyatt's version, he comes back to that high note. Tony goes like this. We're going to slide from the B, 2nd to 3rd, up on the E string, barring that. Walk it down, we're still in first position, pentatonic shape. Then come back, walk it all the way down. And then we're going to do a kind of either using your pinky or a slide from the 6th to the 5th fret on the G string. It's really quick. And once again, once we land here, we're going to do the little bar. Okay. It could be. He's probably hitting that 2nd fret because it's more of a major song. Third, open G, 3rd, open D, 1st to 2nd A, open D, 2nd fret, pull off, then open G. Okay, so from the top, okay, now the rest of Tony's solo on the first part that he does is a little bit more of the same thing. It's kind of a repetitive thing. He goes back up here and does a lot more of that. But he kind of gets higher on the neck, and it's kind of hard for a lot of people to do because he's got a solid body here, doesn't have a cutaway, and I do. So it's easier to reach up here. So let's see exactly what he's doing here when he gets to that high part. One thing he does when he gets up here, it's coming down to the C. He's working on going to the C there when he does that. And then he kind of just noodles down here. That's kind of a difficult one to explain. But when he's going to the C, because they're coming there, kind of hard to do to run that down like that, but that's a good position changer. And he starts at 12th fret, 10th fret, 12-10 on the E string, 13-10, and then we're going to kind of come back to that 10th fret. That's one thing you could practice, just that much. And then this is a whole step on both strings, 10 to 8. And then we're going to come back down once more, but this time with our pinky, because that's, now we're thinking of the first box pentatonic. And then he comes back and does some more of that stuff. Except he does that, except he does a little hammer-on pull-off thing there. Okay, so he's back up here. He walks up a little bit on the top half of the minor pentatonic. Okay, so all right, so that's one of the licks he does. He comes back to the standard G, you know, bluesy shape here. I'm going back to that B string that I'm borrowing, that I'm holding here. Okay, then he's way up here on the neck once again. The shape that we're looking at here is we're looking at the fourth box of the pentatonic again. And then just some minor notes within that. Okay, so that's all he's doing, is just noodling around in that area. And once again, the shape, if you're not familiar with it, is we're at the 10th fret, 13, 10, 13, 10, 12, 10, 12. So those first two are really easy to remember. You got 2 whole plus half, then 2 whole. And then we have going, first time we're leaving the 10th fret, we're going to the 11th fret to the 13th fret, and then back to the 10th to the 13th. So the top two and the bottom is the same pattern. The only oddball is that one on the B string going from the 11th to the 13th fret. And then he just sits there and kind of, here's one good thing that you can do when you're stuck for an idea, and that is, you know, just messing around here, kind of staying on one spot while you're gathering your thoughts. And I mentioned this on the upcoming Bluegrass Guitar course that I'm working on. and I call it stalling. You're kind of stalling here and buying yourself some time. Okay, what do I do next? Can't stay here forever, but you got to work. You know that'll buy you some time to get to some of that stuff. Now, when you get to this little minor shape here, you can kind of do the same stuff you did here. You can still kind of do that same stuff. So that's your G, okay? So think of box 4 starting in the 10th fret there. And let's see what else he's doing here. I know this is kind of scattering on and off stuff, but hopefully this will really help you to see the style of Tony Rice and how he's playing, and how a lot of his stuff is basically, and I went over this a long time ago on pentatonic shapes for bluegrass. A lot of bluegrass is pentatonic stuff, and all you do is you add 1 or 2 notes from the major scale, or from the minor scale or major scale, to give it a little color and a little character, okay? When you're sliding down, by the way, that slide is going to happen on the 12th fret down to the 10th fret D string. Then you're going to end it off, cap it off there with your first finger on the, what is it, 8th fret, back to the 10th. Okay, so that's where Wyatt does his little thing. He's only got 1 or 2 more things here. Tony does. That little slide that we did, it's a little bluesy thing. Same thing we did here. That happens on the D. Then he hits some weird flat note or off note, or he hits some kind of weird flat diminished sounding thing there. That's the end of Tony's thing, and I hope you've enjoyed this lesson. I hope it's not been too scattered for you. I will go back in post-production and edit some of this so it doesn't seem so choppy. But the next lesson is going to be part 2 of Tony Rice's video, and of his solo. It'll be the second solo he takes at the end of Originally Untitled. So after learning these licks, now you've got Wyatt Rice's part, and you've got the first part of Tony's solo. Take some of these if you want to, and go back and practice to the very first lesson in this series, which was just the rhythm, the chords, okay? And that way, at the very end of that video, there is a section where I play in regular time, regular tempo, and then I slow it down and play slow so that you can practice if you need to, slower. So go back to that video and check that out and use some of these licks. You know, if nothing else, you can use these licks, you know, within that time frame. Not try to do the whole solo, but practice one lick the whole time, the whole way through, and you can get some ideas. Mark, if you're watching, Mark DeCarme asked about chord changes, and Lance Anderson, as I said, you know, mentioned the video here of the whole scope of Originally Untitled. Mark, if you're watching this, go back as well and play these licks along with that, and play them along with the rhythm part so that you can get an idea. Remember, if you want to do chord changes, try to do the chord changes to the key that you're about to switch to like 2 or 3 beats ahead of that, so that you can kind of work your way into that next chord. A lot of playing chord changes, and I haven't really mentioned it much yet, and I guess I need to. A lot of playing chord changes has to do with using the scale shapes that you're on. Most of the time, you can play the same shape that you're on. For example, if I'm playing in G, going to C, back to D, back to G, I can stay in the pentatonic shape of G minor. because eventually it's going to go back to the G. So if I'm playing the G shape, then I am in effect playing the one or two beats ahead, the licks in G that I'm going to eventually be reaching. So that's one way. You can solo over chord change by staying in the scale shape that you're in for the main key of the song. Number two, you can change the scale according to the next chord that's appearing and do a lick in that key, do a scale in that key, do a lick in that key of the next chord that's appearing in the song. So if I'm getting ready to go to C, in this instance in the song, I'm going to C. I'm using that as part of the song. I got there, I played that before I got to the C, but now I'm in the C and I can mess around with the C, okay? Alright, and for when they did that, Tony just basically messed around in the minor pentatonic shape, because eventually it's going back to the G, even after all that shape changing. So if he just stayed there and noodle around in the minor pentatonic shape for G, it eventually goes back to G. So I hope that makes sense, and I hope that's done some good suggestions for chord changes. Like I said in the previous video, I probably will go back and do one just for chord changes, but I would like to do a little more research on it. I've done quite a bit of research on this series, as you can tell, you know, all these notes that are flying around at high speeds. So I'm going to go ahead and end it. It's been a lengthy video, and I think I might have to continue this series on. I'm recording these in advance, and I think I might have to record the last one tomorrow. Give myself a chance to go back and watch what he's doing so that I can be more prepared on the second solo, and then come in here tomorrow and get it knocked out and get these uploaded for you guys, because I know you've been wanting them. And I know you've been wanting more bluegrass, more Tony Rice stuff, and hope you guys have been liking what I've been doing on my channel, some vlogs, some reviews, some things that are coming up. So hope you've enjoyed that. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe. Please tell your friends. Click the like button below if you like this video. Leave me a comment. Tell me what you think of these lessons. And if you have a suggestion, go to my guitar lesson suggestion box that I have. If you look at my playlists, or if you go to my channel, it's right there. It's the only video in that playlist. Okay, so it's called Request or something like that. Alright, so thanks so much, and I will see you guys in the next video, hopefully very soon. You have a whole month's worth of Tony Rice licks galore to work on it. Now remember, the one thing I always stress is these are separate little sections that I'm going over. It's a whole entire solo, but use, like, for example, this little lick. Use that as a lick in one of your songs, you know. Use the transition to a C as one of your licks. You know, when you want to go to a C, if you can work that in, use all of it or use part of it. And a lot of times I just use this little part, and that gets me to the C. So a lot of times I'll do that. So use these as individual licks for your songs, okay? This song is packed with individual licks like that. It's one big solo, but they're composed of individual pieces. Take those pieces and use them in your own music. Use them in songs that you know, fiddle tunes, traditional bluegrass songs, bluegrass gospel songs. This is how I learned. I took everything from everybody else that I learned and cut and paste. You're all familiar with that, a computer term. Cut and paste it. Cut it from one song, paste it in another song. See if it works. Experiment with it. Do this on your practice sessions. Play along with backing tracks. Play along with the original song, originally Untitled, either the original video, or my version that I do, you know, when I do the actual rhythm, like I mentioned earlier. All right, thanks so much. I'm tired of rambling. I know you guys are wanting to get on with your day, so thank you and have a blessed day, and I'll see you on the next video. God bless.